Odin, 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 Odin. Well, that never quite caught on, did it? Jamie?
Yep.
Let's go watch The Decline of Western Civilization, Part 2, The Metal Years.
And welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. It is here where we review, I guess you could say, a movie of the 80s. We talk about it, deeply discuss it. It is myself, Jamie Lorello, and the other half is DP McCambridge.
That's why we can play all that trademark music at the end of our episodes, because we're reviewing. This is a review. It's all fair use. So, I think it would be great if we just called ourselves a movie review podcast. It's clearly what happens. At the very end, we're like, did we like it? I don't know, kind of. So that counts as a review.
There you go. There you go. It's an in-depth analysis. Sometimes we're a little off topic, but it should be entertaining, right? For those,
it should be. Yeah, if it's not entertaining to you, something's wrong. We're not saying with you, but
there's a glitch in the matrix if it's not entertaining.
If you're not entertained, the show is not doing what it is intended to do.
Exactly.
Oh, my.
Well, and so here we are on our 4th year anniversary.
4 years.
Wow. We've been doing this for 4 years, and it really has. It's been a lovely, lovely ride.
Yeah. No, I agree. Oh, did
I swiped my computer thing. No. If you do this, the swipe on the keyboard there, or the pad here, it's never mind. We're okay.
I don't type on the keyboard like I'm playing a piano, Mozart. So I don't know what you're doing. Swiping your keyboard.
No, we're okay. Was it small?
Was there like a hair on it and you had to wipe it? Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. My hair is longer now, so it sheds more. I can only imagine the amount of shedding that these gentlemen in these bands had to experience, because
when they are playing and singing, like there was this one quick scene of these two guys playing guitar back to back, and it was just this blonde and black hair meeting and just kind of like intertwining in each other's faces.
Yeah. And it was
even at the one point where the guy dumps beer on their head, I'm like, that has to be terrible. Are they?
Oh yeah, because now it's in your hair. But I think they're too drunk to care and too revved up to say, "Yuck, it's beer in my hair."
I don't know. You got to think that if the whole goal of this is women, which it appears to be, that maybe after the show, if they get a bunch of beer in their hair, they might want to shower. But it seems like the hair routine is quite lengthy.
It's intense, yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Like because
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's go backstage.
I'd be pissed if someone,
here soon. Why are you dumping beer in my head?
Right. I got some good hair happening right now. Yeah.
Whatever. You know what? They're in a documentary. They're happy. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're getting all the attention.
They're too drunk or stoned to even know what's happening.
To really get upset about anything.
I know. And who knew Aerosmith was so boring? Who knew that they were the most boring people on the planet Earth?
They're not floating in a pool, dumping vodka in their faces. They're not.
My biggest issue from this, and maybe, I did see that there's a Blu-ray of this. I didn't look into special features. I want to see entire interviews with some of these people. I want to watch Ozzy Osbourne make an entire breakfast. I want to see...
It was a sloppy breakfast, let's be honest. I think he definitely burnt the eggs.
Dumping orange juice all over the counter going, I don't do drugs anymore? It's like, this is bonkers.
And then he barely cooks his bacon. I don't know if you observed that. That bacon was going to be eaten raw.
It's all floppy.
It's just a hot
And he looks
mess.
like such a baby. Like, he looks like such a baby.
But I have to say that I could see why someone would watch Ozzy in this documentary and then be like, yeah, he should have his own show. He would do well.
Yes. I mean, he is, and this documentary was, over 30 years ago?
Yeah.
He is on the precipice of becoming that strange old grandpa that he was in that
You could
series.
smell the reality TV on him. You're just like, oh, yeah, when that hits, you're going to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Because he was entertaining.
Oh, my God. He's wildly entertaining.
Yeah. And that accent helps, of course, a ton.
Right.
Because he's like, it's bloody hard work to be in a band. It's bloody hard.
Yeah. He was the most entertaining, I think, of the older rock stars.
Oh, there was layers of entertainment.
Alice Cooper was fairly boring. He did make some pretty good jokes, but...
Yeah, but Alice Cooper was interesting because first it was Alice Cooper, so he's got his coops, that makeup thing that he's got. And like at one point, he's like... Yep. One point, I think he's next to a noose, and he's just standing there doing an interview. Another time he's
has
sitting,
legs.
Yeah, no, he's sitting real awkwardly. Yeah,
just like a mannequin legs sticking up out of the stage.
They put him in some weird...
Okay, wait. Before we do this, folks, I have to shout out a new patron.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I just wanted to get in it. I didn't even review. Our anniversary is a wonderful thing, and we have so many good... I do have some recommendations for our past year.
At the
that
end
we can
of the show, we'll throw out
some...
some... Yeah.
Perfect.
Anyway, Christian Oxentine or Oxentine... Sounds like a drug, but, whatever. He's our newest patron, and only because I finally wrote this stuff down, I am going to tell everyone who's not a patron what they get, because on the day this comes out, May 31st, tomorrow, for all patrons, you will receive our latest bonus episode of Commando.
Ooh, it was a good one. It was really fun.
It was pretty fun to discuss Commando. And Christian also instantly gets our episode on Haunted Honeymoon, Under the Cherry Moon, Cabbage Patch Kids Christmas, One Magic Christmas, where...
Oh, so good!
An angel teaches a woman that she needs more Christmas spirit by murdering her entire family.
Yeah. If you want Christmas spirit in July or in the summer, go for it.
Yes.
Go for it.
I mean, you can wait till July. Just wait till July for those episodes. Also, Silver Bullet.
Oh,
fun.
Such a fun episode that was. Yeah.
Our episode on the Great Outdoors.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
The Hollywood Nights, which I kind of totally forgot about. I totally forgot we
Tony
did that.
Danza, right?
Yep. Yeah. He-Man and She-Ra Christmas.
Oh, may the power of Grayskull be with you.
House on Sorority Row.
Oh, jeez.
And we started off this whole patron thing with Blame It on Rio.
That should tell you right there.
Yes. And thankfully that's on Patreon, because if it wasn't, we would probably be thrown in jail just for having watched that movie and then talked about it.
Disturbing.
Also, you will get our Q&A episode, which I've just taken off of our main feed. I like to keep that like show numbers for the main feed. So I took that off, threw it on Patreon, and our Handshake 5.
Oh, that's a fun one too.
So if you're counting, which I wasn't, that's somewhere, I'm going to say, between 13 and 20 extra episodes.
It's a good handful. It's a good handful.
It is a good handful. That is hours of content. And just so you know, the moment you decide to Patreon us at $5 or more, you can give us whatever you want. You unlock all of that content.
You unlock it. Like Pandora's box. It is unleashed upon you.
You cannot put it back in the box when you're done. No. And there will be more new Patreon episodes to come. So consider donating to the show.
It's a fun thing.
Yeah. We always thank our listeners for listening to the show, but our patrons are clearly thanking us for doing this work. Should we call this work?
This work, yeah. I mean, if these bands could call what they do work, then I think that we can call this work.
You know what? Yes. Yeah. If that one guy says that playing music in a club is his job, I guess this is my job.
Yeah, no, it's a big circle of gratitude when it comes to the patrons and us, because we appreciate them and they appreciate us.
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Christian, for being our newest donor, our newest patron. And everybody else, go to patreon.com/goodtimesgreatmovies. At least check it out. At least see what's there. You don't have to sign up or pledge us anything to see what's there.
No, just look at it.
So if you've forgotten that I said we talked about Cabbage Patch Kids Christmas, it'll all come flooding back to you when you see that it's there.
When you see it's on that episode list. Oh, yeah.
All right. So for this episode, we reached out to everybody, as we do with our anniversary episodes, and we gave you choices.
We did. We kind of left it in your hands a bit. And I think we were open. We were hoping for the garlic documentary. There's a great little documentary about garlic that I'm interested in. I mean, my breath stinks of garlic right now. Actually, I had some pesto for dinner. I'm not going to lie. And
just a big bowl of pesto.
That's what I had 3 days ago, mind you. And it still is garlic in my face. But but that's not, we didn't watch. That's not what the audience is getting. That's not what they chose.
I was excited about that because I saw that it's like 36 minutes long.
You're like, we're going to breeze through that.
But no, we're not talking about although we did say that we might do it as a Patreon bonus.
And we may.
Because I feel like I gotta watch that.
I know.
I should not have watched the trailer, or else I'd just be like, I don't know. I'm sure it wasn't interesting. It was probably just about how to grow garlic. Not some guy singing a garlic song in what looked like a hotel room.
Can we just talk about the garlic documentary?
Let's talk about the garlic trailer. That'll be our episode.
Listen, listeners, we made you vote, and we watched the movie you wanted us to, but we're still not going to talk about it, okay?
Yeah, I couldn't figure out on Twitter how to rig a poll, so that did not win. That got absolutely crushed by the other two choices. What did end up winning is the longest title for a movie that we've done. Yes. I will try and get through it. It's called The Decline of Western Civilization, Part 2, The Metal Years.
Correct.
Attention, everybody! Alice Cooper, Aerosmith.
Dude looks like a lady.
Kiss.
This movie is about groups, metal, guitars, girls.
Ozzy Osbourne and Poison. The megastars and the rising stars of metal.
I'm going to be a rock star.
So I want to be a rock star.
I'm going to be a rock star.
Good luck to them if they're pretty. Wish I was.
To be a rock and roll star is the greatest thing in the world.
Then you got things like divorces, management rip-offs, fatigue, drugs.
Rock and roll. Why do they do it?
I'm in it for the money.
A headbanger is someone that drives by in their car and goes,
Melody! How do they make a living?
I'm a professional musician.
I don't work. I can't stand work.
We don't work. We play music.
We are not role models for your life.
And why do they get all the girls?
Because they have good music and really, they're good looking.
And what about the groupies?
I like to call them the fleas and ticks of rock and roll.
But what do they really want to be?
I would say happy.
I'm a happy camper.
The Decline of Western Civilization, Part 2, The Metal Years.
Better than sex, better than anything in the world you could ever do.
If you know anything about this series of documentaries, there are 3 of them. Mm-hmm. The first one was about punk music.
Right.
And that came out in 81, I think. And this is 88. Mm-hmm. And the other one's the 90s, so we'll never talk about it.
We're not going to cover
Let's
it.
just, let's call this what's not
what
a trilogy?
What do you want to call it?
What's 2 of them?
A dose?
A dose. Yep. This is not a trilogy. It's a dose. This is directed by the director of
Wayne's World. Yeah. Party Time. Excellent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know. That's I haven't seen that movie in so long, but that's such a
but it
fun
makes
movie.
sense.
So
and it
fun.
makes sense that she would be hanging out interested in this vibe of people and then her work on Wayne's World. She also directed Black Sheep with Chris Farley. But,
oh my.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't dig that deep. I went, she made Suburbia, which again is another movie I remember liking, but I haven't seen in a very long time. Mm-hmm. And she made Wayne's World, and I love Wayne's World so much.
Sure. I wish it was an 80s. It's not. It's 90s, or we'd cover it in the show.
I know. And she just called Alice Cooper and was like, hey, it's Penelope. You remember you were in that documentary? Well, I'm doing this thing. It's like a Saturday Night Live thing. Can you just show up for one scene? And he's great in Wayne's
He was happy to, of course.
Alice, is this cool?
Yeah, come on in.
Sorry to bother you, but we had to come and tell you how much we really enjoyed the show, didn't we, Garth?
Oh, thanks.
We're not mental or anything, so don't be afraid. My name is Wayne, and this is Garth.
Nice to meet you guys.
So, do you come to Milwaukee often?
Well, I'm a regular visitor here, but Milwaukee has certainly had its share of visitors. The French missionaries and explorers were coming here as early as the late 1600s to trade with the Native Americans.
In fact, isn't Milwaukee an Indian name?
Yes, Pete, it is. Actually, it's pronounced Miliwake, which is Algonquin for the good land.
I was not aware of that.
I think one of the most interesting aspects of Milwaukee is the fact that it's the only major American city to have ever elected 3 socialist mayors.
Does this guy know how to party or what? Huh?
Alice Cooper and I share a birthday, in case anybody wants to know.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
well, now people know when your birthday is if they know when Alice Cooper's birthday is.
True.
They can find out his birthday on IMDb and then just understand when it's yours.
And then just parallel that shit.
So let's talk about this movie. This movie is a documentary.
Yes. Now, were you into heavy metal at all? Did you dabble in any of it?
I was not.
No, any of it.
Which I had not seen this documentary beforehand. Mm-hmm. I'd seen the first one because in that one there are, she talks to bands like Fear and Black Flag. I think she talks to Black Flag. I'm not sure. But those are bands that I like. I enjoy punk music more than this. I knew a lot of people that loved Poison.
Yeah.
I never heard much of it.
Gotcha.
A lot of people my age that were really into this had older siblings that were really into this. And it was them that
got it into it, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's
that
what
makes
I
sense.
found.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I guess because my brother was not. My older brother, he was more of the R&B hip hop. But my aunt was very much she still is, loves Motley Crue. My aunt that's kind of and I went through a phase where I liked some of it, but like the hair bands, not like Megadeth and Odin. I don't know a bunch of these bands, but I liked Aerosmith.
Nobody knows Odin.
Yeah.
Odin's Wikipedia summary was a paragraph, and a light paragraph at that.
Aw, poor Odin.
That old guy loved Odin.
That creepy old guy that was in charge. What was his name?
What is going on with that guy? What is
going on with that guy, and why wasn't he arrested for underage?
His name's Gazzari.
Bill Gazzari, the godfather of rock and roll. What he calls himself.
That was very troubling.
Yes.
Just seeing him once was troubling enough, but then going, oh, wait, this is what he does?
Yeah.
This is his thing?
It is his thing.
I don't like it.
No, I'm uncomfortable by it. Mm-hmm. At the end, when he's that whole dance contest that they have is disturbing.
Oh, my God.
And his interactions in it are beyond disturbing.
I mean, this documentary is... it's like an hour 30, but the last 5 minutes are credits. Did we need that dancing? Why? That was my biggest issue with this documentary is it didn't stay on course. And I understand that was probably the intent of this, but you didn't need any of that competition. I think that had nothing to do with metal. That just led up to a terrible Odin performance.
It did lead up to some bad Odin.
Yeah. I could have watched the people, just the regular quote-unquote kids being interviewed. I could have had another 10 minutes of that. I would have loved that.
Yeah.
Or like we said before, we for the patrons, we talked about Ozzy for 5 minutes. Give me more Ozzy. I would take that.
Yeah, I know.
I have a disease called alcoholism and drug dependency.
I know, but I don't know if that was her... That was meant to be her commentary on their treatment of, even more so on their treatment of women, and She wanted that to stay in for that purpose. I mean, definitely when you're done watching this documentary, and I think this was the case even after it came out, like you definitely have a sort of an unpleasant taste in your mouth for heavy metal and this whole culture of, and
it's pretty gross.
Watching it now and like in my it felt like when I went to New Orleans for the first time, I went in for spring break, senior year in college, and I was in a very like feminist girl power, strong women phase, which, well, whatever. Anyway, I had the short hair and I was really like, I had that super pixie cut and I just like, so, but when we went to New Orleans and the girls were doing their booby flashing and all that stuff for the beads, I would get so angry and so upset that I couldn't enjoy, like, New Orleans does have a lot of cool culture and a lot of great things to see. And when we went outside of that, I did enjoy it. But I was getting so angry at what I was seeing in New Orleans that I didn't enjoy it. And that was what was happening for me in this music. Like, again, not that this is music necessarily that I even enjoy. It's not my personal taste. But you could see some of these guys had talent. Obviously they did. Uh-huh. But what I was hearing and all this mojo, all this layer on top was just giving me such a bad taste in my mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there were times when I was, like, almost disgusted, like, pissed that we were watching this. I'm like, why are we, what? But then at other times I was enlightened. I was like, wow, this really puts into perspective why people in the 80s, like, and then those dudes all had to grow up. And now they're like, well, how did that affect? How did that...
It's amazing.
Seed in our culture trickle down into where we're at now. Because it did. It definitely did.
It is interesting. I can't imagine how interesting it would have been at the time.
In it, right.
Yeah, like if you're into it, I could see how you could love it. But this is kind of why I love documentaries, is as long as you're watching them or they're about something that happened a long time ago, you sort of are able to get that closure. So I really enjoyed reading... The guy in the hot tub who wanted to kill himself, like, he's a truck driver now.
Is he?
Yes.
Oh, he would be so pissed at himself.
I know.
Because wasn't that one of their, I don't know if it was that band, but one of the bands was like, no, man, I couldn't work for a company. I couldn't work for, like, that was part of all their things.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you say one of the bands, it was all of them. It was
all of them, yeah.
Everybody.
They couldn't work for the man.
Yeah,
They were all proud that they had never held down a real job.
I enjoyed when she asked them all the question about what if you don't make it. And they're all like, what?
What if you don't make it as a rock star?
Oh, I will.
But what if you don't? In 10 years, what are you going to be doing?
See, I will, though, see.
What if you don't make it?
But I will. I will make it.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to quit until I do. The main key is perseverance, and I will persevere.
That question is not in my mind.
That was the attitude, too. You just don't put that in your head. But then, interestingly enough, like, that was, like, Steven Tyler's advice was like, yeah, we just worked so hard we knew we weren't going to not make it. Plus, you have an amazing plastic face, Steven Tyler.
And stop tying scarves to your mic stands, everybody. That's
we all know that you're Robin, but I like it. He's like kind of like, oh, whatever. Wasn't he one of the ones that was like, I feel like it's paying me some honor and it's fine.
All of the big ones were like, whatever. If they're stealing our stuff, who cares? They don't care. They've made their money. Like they don't care. Right. But I also love how a lot of the other bands would not acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Why do you put those scarves on your microphone stand?
So I can wipe my nose, blow my nose.
First, it starts out and you're just... I had a hard time focusing, like oh my God, I got to take notes on this. Because it's so much hair. The hair on these gentlemen.
Did you lose your mind when that little kid showed up with that hair? Oh my God, I laughed. So I had to pause it. Because I was like, if she's saying anything worthwhile, I cannot keep it together.
I can't.
I just have to look at this kid and get it out of my system because I know he'll be back on later.
Yeah, he's like this tiny little version of all of them.
That was bonkers. And when she's trying to have him do the devil horns later,
he can't do it. Yeah,
index and middle finger. And what is with that woman in the office? Sitting there, and she's like a probation officer?
Oh, yeah, the probation. First of all, she looks more like a man than most of these men do. Because she has, like, some of them are very beautiful. They look like women. At one point I write in my notes, this woman is hard to look at because she is. Because she's so angry. When she brings out the whip, the things that they wear on their arms, the like chains and stuff that they wear, and she's so serious about it.
Because early in the interview, she's just sitting there at this desk, just having no fun at all. She's such a wet blanket.
She hates them, yeah.
And then later they cut back to her, and she wasn't even talking about this stuff yet. I'm looking, going, what is all that stuff all over her desk? What are those piles of studded garments on her desk?
That's when they demetal the dudes, though, right? They take that stuff away from them.
Like, she puts them on her arms, like, oh, this is how this goes, like this. And why are they demetaling these dudes? Where are they?
Part of this program that was
so is
demettaling.
This just like when you have to go check in with your probation officer? They take off all your metal gear?
Yes. Because this stuff is trouble. It is really funny because in reality it is, I mean, yes, they're definitely, it's definitely some sexist music and they're definitely, I don't know. I could see how you're going to have feelings against it. They say themselves, like, they want parents to be mad about the music. They want to upset parents. They're rebels in their rock and roll or whatever. But she just, she wants to just take it away from them. She doesn't want them to have any part of it.
I thought it was great, like, when Lemmy was just like, yeah, if your parents hate it, that probably means that it's good music. Like, that's the way it should be.
That's how,
Because whatever your parents listened to, their grandparents hated it, and so on and so forth.
Right.
And, that's the way it works. Yeah, the sexism was crazy, and I'm glad that she, of course, I mean, as a female director, she really focused on it and spent a lot of time with it, and I'm glad she did that, because there were things I didn't know. I didn't know that these rock stars got girls to just pay for meals for them and stuff.
Yeah.
I did not know that at all.
I guess it's what you do, because when the ones that don't make it, like one of the bands break down, let me see, they break down like money-wise of what they make. I think it's the Faster Pussycats that are like, we don't do this for the money because they get $1,000 a show, but it costs them $2,000 or $2,500 to be on the road.
We get $1,000 a night a show. On average, we probably play 4 shows a week. It costs us $2,500 to be on the road.
So at this point,
we don't make any money. We don't make any debt. Not until we're new.
And so they don't make a lot of money when they do what they do, but they get a lot of attention. And some of these ladies probably were semi-successful, or at least made more money, had better bank accounts than them. So take a free meal and whatever. I like when they pointed out, like, do you think that's prostitution, though? Because you're like...
I do like how all of them had to think.
Yeah, they were like...
They just had to think for a second to be like, oh, yeah, I don't see it like that.
No, I mean, it's just, it's a win-win. That's what it is.
I do have to take issue with that band saying that it cost them $2,500 a week, because aren't they the band that just jumps into an RV at the end and drives away?
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't, like, what do you spend that money on?
I was thinking, I guess snacks, they really, beer? They buy a lot of beer for themselves.
It must just be beer, yes. And she was so trying to get them to say that they don't have homes, when she's like, and I talked to each of you, and I wanted to conduct this interview in one of your homes, and
because when I wanted to shoot you, I want to go to one of your homes, but you didn't have one.
Where do you live? And they're like, just everywhere, just all around. And then you see them jump into that camper and drive away. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I was very, very surprised to find out that Chris from Wasp, the guy that was in the pool, he's still alive. I couldn't believe it. I thought for sure he was dead.
I thought he was going to die on camera.
That's what I thought. But he looks kind of, he's a little chubbier.
Okay.
And so the clothes are tighter, because I think he's still trying to wear the same vest that he was in the pool. And he's got a big, big beard, and he lives in France.
Okay. Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay. He had to have stopped drinking at some point, right? Like, he couldn't continue doing
I don't think he drinks that much, but he doesn't say whether he...
That was amazing. That is another
with his
one of those.
right there.
That's another one of those interviews where I want the entire interview. I want the whole thing.
I did a little bit of reading, and what I read was that she thought after she did his interview, she didn't think she got anything. She was like, he was just hammered the whole time, like we didn't get anything. And she had told like her producers, I'm going to have to go back to Chris's house and do another shoot. And she didn't have enough money to. So when she got to the editing room and she was like, all right, well, we got to make this work. She was pleasantly surprised that it was actually like a big hit of the film in a weird way, because
and I can understand why you don't think you got anything, because he didn't answer any questions.
When he was
drank vodka.
drunk,
he couldn't hear her ask the questions because the bottles were he was just guzzling bottles of vodka, and that was so troubling to me. Like,
oh yeah,
I don't know.
With his mom
with his
there,
mom, with his
and
mom.
then hands her a drink at one time, and she sips it.
She sips it, and seems like she winces a little bit. Like, woof, boy,
that's strong
making
stuff.
These screwdrivers a little strong here.
And why I drink is because what?
But why do you drink, Chris?
Because it makes me happy.
But she didn't care. That was her baby boy.
Did not care when he was like, you know what I did? Banged 4 women at once. It was awesome.
What was her? She did say, she's like, I don't like to hear about that. Or so, yeah, I try not to think about it. That's what she said.
Yeah, that's a great interview. That's a great interview. It's really interesting, too, because they do talk about drugs and they talk about drinking and everything. And I thought it was very telling how almost all of these single interviews of the fans are just like, nobodies. I mean, a lot of these people were nobodies, but a lot of those single interviews under the one light bulb that was hanging down, all of them were like, no, I don't do drugs. I don't drink.
Yeah.
And then every successful musician was like, hell yeah, man.
Yeah. They were drunk right then. Like the members of Poison. Well, another band, that was another one of the updates, was the band, the guys from London, the band that there was a lot of hair in that band. Well, they all had on it.
I don't know if I remember London.
They even did a performance, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. I'd have to. But they were saying how, like, during those interviews, there was, like, weed and coke under their seats. So they were, like, taking hits, like, and then they'd be like, what are we saying?
Okay,
what do you want to know? And you could, like, the members of Poison, all of them look and sound so rickety-wrecked. Like, at one point, Bret Michaels is trying to, like, philosophize about making money in the business, and then they're all like, no, we're not in it for the money. And
what does the one guy call a car?
If you love what you're doing, whether you have enough money to buy a Le Mans or buy a cheeseburger.
It's a Pontiac. Okay.
No, what I meant is
He just keeps saying it like he knows it's wrong, but he can't think of what the real word is.
And they giggle about it, like they're
They really, like, other than the guy in the pool, and other than sort of looking back at this now 30 years out, they all seem to be having a great time. Like, they are all having a total blast.
Yeah.
Like, deep down, maybe they're concerned about their financial situation or whatever. Right. But again, I mean, from the outside, they are just
it's Party City,
living life.
Yeah,
Party City
without all the helium.
They're having. They make it look like it is a lot of fun, and I'm sure it was for them at that time. During those brief couple years that a lot of these bands existed, I'm sure it was a ton of fun.
I'm sure for them it was.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. The whole situation, you could tell, and they loved just the performing of it, but then there was a yin and a yang to it. There was a very dark side to it.
Oh, sure.
To all that enjoyment.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were living La Vida Loca.
Yeah. And I also thought it was funny how, for all the womanizing and all that terrible stuff that goes on in here, when they talk about makeup, and all the guys are like, oh, yeah, I do this. And I put on
this
eyeliner.
is my eyeliner I wear,
The one guy's like, I just have women do it for me, and I try and learn from what they do. It's great.
Yeah.
And even the older rock stars, even like Lemmy's like...
What do you think about the pretty rock and roll stars?
Good luck to them if they're pretty. Wish I was.
nah, it's not for me, but you know what? Whatever you want to do,
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah.
And I do like it when Joe Perry is even like, yeah, I don't mind. They could do it. I mean, you know, I kind of mind when they then grab my ass later.
Yeah.
And he looks over and goes, I just kind of mind.
Yeah, they do. They have a in-depth, and they don't talk much about the costumes or the outfits that they wear.
I thought they would get more into
definitely
that.
wear some outfits. Like they're not just getting up there in their jeans and t-shirt and singing their songs, right?
No. And
There's,
if they
like,
do, it looks lame, and normally it's the drummer. Like there's just a drummer in like a Batman shirt, but nobody cares. Like it doesn't matter. You know, but other guys are wearing like those puffy, frilly pirate shirts.
Yeah, they have those Jerry Seinfeld pirate shirts on. Or they're the ones wearing assless chaps. Or something is flowing, something is very flowy, but something is also very restrictive and leather at the same time.
And I love it because they're not... Like, if you think back to, you know, doo-wop groups and stuff of the 60s and how they all dressed the same in the suits, and even like Devo, they dressed like lunatics, but they all sort of had their same look that they went for. Like, each person up there is like, this is what I'm doing tonight. Yeah. I don't care what you're doing.
This is my hair. I have long hair and bangs. I have long hair. It's 2 colors. I have long hair. It's all of them had. I was amazed at how much, not just hair, but really good hair. Like they have all these waves and these colors and this buoyancy to that. I don't know if it's VO5 or Pantene Pro V. I don't know the product that they were into, but I wish that there was a section on that, on hair care. We discussed makeup, but there's nothing about hair care, and there's nothing about outfits.
Let's get rid of that dance contest. And let's talk more about this, because what they wear and how they look is such a huge part of this.
Well, and then it was interesting, too, like, because the women... Like, first of all, the men, even some of them even said, like, there was a whole section on that, how, I think it was around the time they were talking about the makeup, was how they get mistaken for women, some of them. Yeah. They get catcalled and honked at or whatever. And it was so strange to me that then even, like, at the concerts, who looked better, the men or the women?
Right.
Like, and looked better for the same reason, you know what I mean?
Yes.
With the hair and the outfits, and it was very...
Even those 2 girls that are interviewed together, sitting together the whole time, which whatever.
So you get into group sex?
Yeah, it's happened.
It's happened. We've had 4 or 5 times since we've been here. How long have you been here? 5 weeks.
Even they were like, yeah, I like it when a guy wears makeup. Like, that androgynous thing is cool. Like, I think it's a good look. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. It's like, you know, it's very like a different type of masculine, you know? It's like, this is a tough guy, and all he wants to do is bang chicks, so he better dress to the nines and put on that eyeliner, because he's not going to do it without that. I don't want to call any of this progressive, because it all just falls apart once they start talking about women. But it's just, they don't make fun of each other for what they're wearing or what they're doing to their hair. I found that really fascinating.
They embraced it, and it's almost like they found that, which in that sense, it was kind of refreshing to see these men like embrace their femininity in a sense. But then you get to the next scene where they're talking about what I think they call the groupies fleas and ticks of rock and roll. Like and you just go, oh, but you don't. You really just care about sex, and you must just think that eyeliner will get you laid. I don't know.
I did like it when the director was talking to the one guy, and she's like,
I mean, I've seen girls walking around in garter belts and bras.
I know, I like that. Somebody came here once from Texas, and they go, I don't believe it. In Texas, we wear our lingerie in the bedroom. In the cat house, they wear them out in the club. You know, if you want to come here dressed really nice, that's okay, but you'll get in the club faster if you dress sleazy.
Oh, yeah, when they're at that cat club, where they're like, we like them to dress sleazy, and we like them to wear nothing, and that's what they do when they come here.
What does the one guy say?
But it's funny, because it's
what
not
kind
like
of women
the
does he
music
like? And he's like, oh, I like sluts.
Sluts, yeah. I like sluts. I mean, he's being honest.
Right.
That's what he's into.
Nobody's being dishonest. Well, they may be being dishonest with themselves when they think they're going to be
Oh, yeah, when they think they're going to be.
All of the answers seem genuine.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
But they didn't have any other choice but to be real as fuck. Like, they didn't know to make them... Even Aerosmith, I think, now conducts interviews differently and isn't maybe
Wait a minute. Hold on. You're saying that they don't conduct interviews, as you put it earlier, in the lobby of their rehab center? You are right, though. That is a crazy place to conduct an interview. It's just the two of them sitting there.
I really feel like they just got out, and she was like, "You want to do it today?" And they were like, "Sure, meet us here.
Meet us at this rehab center in Arizona or wherever.
We'll be ready."
Yeah, we're drying out in the desert. That's what we're doing.
Literally.
Yeah. I do like it when she asked Joe Perry, like, how long have you been sober? And I expected the answer to be years. And he's like 6 months now.
Yeah, that's why I think they just got out of their intensive rehab. And he's like, yeah, I mean, but we couldn't do it anymore. It was bad news. It was bad news. But do you have anything? No. I do like Steven Tyler. I don't know. Do you want to try to take this in any kind of order?
No,
we're just going to talk about the random.
No, we're 45 minutes into this. We're just pulling out random stuff. There's no plot, so we can't do this in order.
No, you
as usual.
can't.
Yeah.
Steven Tyler talks about. He compares jerking off to the evolution of life. Like he goes into this deep. Like, do you remember this?
No.
He says how like. Because, again, they're fresh out of rehab, right? So he's saying how they came to this realization, like kind of growing up, you know. You realize, it's partying is fun, but eventually you've got to grow up. And he relates it to jerking off, saying, like, you know, like when you first start to jerk off, you're just like, you're going for it. You're just jerking off.
I did not remember this.
It's like, you know, it's like jerking off when you're a young kid and you first learn how to use that thing. You know, you go... But the older you get, you slow down, you know, and you get into the rhythm of it, and you learn how to milk it for all it's worth. And I think that's what Aerosmith is right now. I think we do a good job of fucking.
Well, who's the one where she's like, you know, what's, you know, the best thing? Is the best thing like going up and performing, or is it sex? And he's like, you know what? Yeah, going up and performing, it's the best. Except maybe this, and then he does a jerk off. It's like, although this is kind of better than performing. I'm like, wait, what? Hold on a second. I don't know if you're answering this question correctly. I don't know if masturbating should be the greatest thing that happens to you.
I mean, maybe he's gotten that good at it.
But again, listen, he's being honest.
He is. They had no other. Oh. All right. So we talked about the probation officer who scared me every time she was on the screen. What about that promoter guy?
Whoa. That guy who looks like he's in a church?
There's more bands in LA than there are anywhere else in the world because most of the record companies and labels and high management corporations are based in Los Angeles. A lot of the people who play in bands aren't originally from Los Angeles.
He's sitting in front of stained glass, and he looks
like he came out of a Ted Burton movie.
Tim Burton, you mean?
What did I say? Tom Burton? Ted Burton? Ted Burton. Did I say Ted?
I don't know. Maybe I just heard it as that. He's got a strange look to him. He's an overweight dude. Mm-hmm. And did you read his title?
He's a promoter of some kind, isn't he?
The thing that blew my mind was when it said 18-year-old band promoter. And I was like, this guy looks wretched for 18. He looks horrible for 18.
Well, there were no updates on him, so who knows if he's still hanging on.
Oh, my God. He was probably not well. It was upsetting every time I saw him because I'm like, this is not fun. Like, this is not fun to look at.
Yeah, it was not fun. And he was one of the moments of this, because there were times during this documentary where I was like, have you watched Documentary Now with Fred Armisen?
Sure. Yeah, it's great.
So there were times when I was like, this is a spoof. This isn't, they set them up to do this. This is why they're acting so goofy. When he would come on, I was like, this guy isn't real. This guy was not the promoter for these bands. There is no way, and he's a character. He has been made up, and there's an actor playing him, and that's what this dude is.
Yeah, it's like seeing Martin Short as Jiminy Glick or something, where you're like, I think there's a person in those prosthetics.
Exactly.
Like, it's bizarre. That guy looked bizarre. And
his just like, his commentary, it didn't ever, well, he said, if you want to make it. And it's funny because you couldn't take him seriously. You kind of had to mesh him with the old guy, the one that was the creepy old guy. Right. Like, if you mesh the two of them, then maybe you'd have a decent...
You'd create a normal human being?
Yeah, well... for this documentary.
Right,
Because I didn't believe that, first of all, like you said, 18 years, I didn't believe that he could even be a promoter. I was like, where's your promoting personality? Like, again, the old man seemed more like he had that promoter vibe.
Yeah.
I guess that's why he does promote his little nightclub there. But
who was the band that got on stage and was like, hey, this is being filmed, so if all of you could look like enthusiastic, that would be great.
So you guys are going to be in the picture right here, so if you can just like stick your hands up in the air, make yourself look, show us your underalls. All right.
Almost all these bands to a T. Now again, I don't particularly like this music, but every performance I was like, this is awful. This is terrible. This is uninteresting. The music isn't very good.
I think that was another tough thing about watching. I mean, again, not our style of music. Yeah. There were moments when I could appreciate some of the musical talent, the guitar playing, the drumming. I went through a little phase. My sister really liked Guns N' Roses. We listened to Warrant. We listened to Poison, the Nelson. Like, we dabbled in more like that hard rock, heavy metal. A little bit of Metallica, I think I listened to. Like, I remember I was like 12, I think, and I sang that for a talent show, me and my sister, and I don't know.
Please find this. If you have a recording of it, I'll put it on for our patrons.
If I have. No, but I got out of the phase. I was in it, and then I was out of it. But
but it is like it is because I still see it now. It is a lot of that. If you listen to this stuff when you were that age, people still listen to it now. I will still hear like Iron Maiden coming out of people's cars. I'm like,
totally.
Wow. But
and they love
look
it.
at those people, and they're like, okay, this guy's like in his early to mid 50s. Yeah, this is. Yeah, like I get it. I get it because I still listen to that same crap.
That's like his Tony Bennett. You know, he's like, I
like the guy who dropped out of school in 7th grade, and he says he's never worked. He's never had a job. He's never going to get a job.
He doesn't need to.
You know, and most of them, their fallback was, I'm going to live in a gutter.
So it's either a rock and roll star or a bum. That's your trip.
That's it.
Yeah, they were either going to be the rock star that they were hoping to be, or they were going to be a bum. They were going to go to Skid Row.
Skid Row. Lots of people talked about Skid Row.
And it's funny because there was a band, Skid Row.
Are we going to hear some Skid Row? Because I might be able
18 in life, you got it.
I was going to say, I might know some of that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Odin. I didn't know your big hits.
Yeah, I know. Poor Odin. But so Odin was the band that, first of all, they conducted their interview in a hot tub, right?
Wow. Yes.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Great interview.
I love it. At one point, one of the girls gets out of the hot tub to get a bottle of wine and goes back in the hot tub to keep it. Like, she's like, I know we're doing an interview and everything, but I could be drinking more than I am. So
much just drinking out of beer cans. So many beer cans. It's not a glamorous lifestyle. Nobody even puts it in a cup. Like, nobody even just puts it in a plastic Solo cup or whatever.
No.
It's
right out of the can. And it's a very big hot tub that they're in when they do their interview.
There's like 45 people in this.
Yeah, and their interview is turns kind of sad too, right? Because this is when he goes off into dreamland and is like, I'm going to make it. I can't not make it. I'd kill myself if I didn't make it. And you could see the other band members, even the other girls in the hot tub are getting kind of uncomfortable. Like, why are we talking about
kinda
killing yourself?
Out.
Like, just hanging out in the hot tub.
Have you ever actually tried to kill yourself? Well, come pretty close.
Is it worth killing yourself for if you don't make it?
Well, there's nothing else that I could really do except music, you know?
And that's how I feel. That's all I really want to do in my life is music. And if I can't do that, then fuck everything else around me, really.
And then the other band member that's sitting in the hot tub next to him, that guy looks dumb as a bag of rocks.
Oh, yeah.
That dude is just staring off into space. He has to be either really high or really stupid.
But you do get, when you get in a hot tub and you're high, you just lose.
Sure.
And then you got your friend next to you talking about killing himself. You're like, I'm just fading out. Is there a camera here? Am I supposed to be talking in it? What?
And I know that they're on camera, and I get that. But for my money, in a movie like this, there's way too many clothes on in that hot tub. This guy just performed in assless chaps. Like, why is he not full-on naked in this hot tub?
Well, he's not, what's his name from Kiss, but just ladies laying on him. He's not that,
Paul Stanley.
Paul Stanley, thanks.
I am still baffled by that interview. It's shot from directly above, too. Like they had to put
it's
that
interesting.
Camera, position it directly above, shooting down. That's how he's conducting this interview.
And by the end of the interview, I want to say he has a bit of a neck, creak, or neck, his neck's got to be a little tight, because he's, bent a weird way so that the girl could be nuzzling in on him. And he's always saying these, yeah, man, you eat a candy bar and you just enjoy it, and it's life. Yeah, you make money, and what is money if you don't have babes? You know what I mean? I don't know the things he says. I didn't write any of them down, but he's just very
No, I did try and write some stuff down, but I couldn't after a while. I was like, this is all gold, and I'm not going to get through this if I just sit and I watch everything or write everything down.
Yeah, I agree. You could be writing every little thing.
100%. I think that this interview and the interview with Gene Simmons.
Oh, Gene Simmons.
I'm trying to call him Jim Simmons. Sounds like a guy who ran a cult or something. I think these were they were probably conducted during photo shoots or something. This looks like a Rolling Stone photo shoot of him on the bed with these ladies.
Yeah.
And Gene Simmons in a lingerie department store. It's so strange.
Every time they came up, I'm like, oh, this guy's back. These guys are back. These two.
And they're so lame, too. I think they were the only rock stars that were like, drugs? Why would you do drugs?
It's all about the ladies. It's really just about the ladies.
It really is. It really...
Mm-hmm. God. And the music, I guess. Let's see. It was interesting to find out that at the time, one of the things these bands would do to, kind of increase their popularity and to get gigs was passing out flyers. That was one of the things they talked about doing. That was early on in the movie, but they talked about that
way
being,
too much. Just way too much.
You're like, okay, I get it. This is what you have to do.
It's like, oh, do you guys hand out flyers? Yeah, we do. Oh, do you hand out flyers? Yeah, we get it. Everybody hands out flyers.
No, but then they got into it. Handing out flyers, how I meet ladies. Yeah, if a dude gives me a flyer, I throw it away. They did. Yeah, you're right. For an hour and a half, it could have been easily edited down to a little more.
This is when they're talking to the band that's interviewed in the car, when they start to get into this. The band called Seduce from Detroit. And my favorite member of Seduce, because I don't know, I was going to say it's the one with the long hair, but it's the guy who they ask him where he's going to be in 10 years, and he's like,
where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Retired. Living someplace nice. My stock's working for me. Investments, bonds, securities. Shit like that. I'm responsible. I got long hair, but fuck, I'm a businessman,
Oh, yeah, the one that's, smart about his money?
Good answer.
I wish I had a fine. I know.
I hope he's fine.
I do, too. I'm like, yeah, dude, if that's really how you did this, then kudos to you.
Then they sing a song about a plane crash, and I was like, this is terrible music.
Yeah.
You're not going to make it, Seduce. Sorry.
Which is the band that lights the Russian flag on fire?
Oh, my God. It's not a Russian flag. It's just a red scarf. And who knew these people were so, pro-USA? Who knew these bands were the most patriotic thing going?
Of course they are. They say, I think they talk about that at one point, how they're all a bunch of little, Catholic school boys who then grew up and kind of, wanted to buck the system a bit. Mm-hmm. Then they become these little...
I believe that's London again, because that's that uninspired performance where nobody's cheering and he makes them...
I think they're the ones that, are like, come on, please.
Yeah. Because he lights the cigar. Yeah, because he's like, I hear those commies are coming over here.
And
yeah,
then
this is what we do to commies.
Right
he's trying to light it so badly. He's trying so hard, it's not lighting. And then you see people in the front row with their lighters, like trying to help him out a little bit.
The shows, I wasn't that kind of fan. I didn't go to their shows.
Right.
But the shows had to sometimes be something else. A lot of very energetic, I want to say, like
yeah, right. I mean,
very kinetic. A lot of noise and a lot of gyrating, I guess. And
it's not.
You never knew. Like they talked about the especially like as some of the bands got more. Got bigger and had better budgets. They were lighting things on fire and shit was exploding. And
no, the shows, and I assume the shows were fun. Like I think about, shows I went to when I was in college at small venues, and you're all packed in, and people are trying to dance and move around, and everybody's getting pushed and punched, and you can like stage dive. I didn't see any of that here, except at the end.
At the end there was. No, but they do go into a little bit a definition of a headbanger, because that's what they are. Well, that's not what they all are.
Talk about that a lot. It's what all the fans are, but the guys performing are like, oh, I don't do that. I don't know what that is. They just, hey, if they want to do it, that's cool.
That's cool, yeah. But I guess because the music kind of makes that happen.
The one guy who says something like, I'm not into headbanging, I'm into chick banging.
Yeah.
Like, all right, okay. We get it. You guys in makeup are
chick
totally
magnets.
hetero. I get it.
Yeah. All right.
You don't need to keep reminding us. They do talk about AIDS. They do talk about AIDS.
They get serious. They talk
so
about it. But
briefly.
they talk about it so briefly because none of them are concerned.
They're
all like, oh, yeah, no. And then they talk about pregnancy, too, a little bit.
Yep.
And they're like, yeah, that's not something I think about.
No,
and that's another part of this documentary where I cringed. And I was like, do you see what is wrong with this? Down with the patriarchy. Or like, this is why the male society is just, they've been poisoned. And look at how deep it got in this time period. It just got really so out of control. And I want to go back in time and like squeeze their little hairs out.
Right. You might say they've been poisoned by poison. And so that's the way it happened.
Poison,
I like the one band that's talking about, like, they're like, oh, we owe $100,000 right now, but we're working to get out of that. And she's like, wait, how did this happen? And the guy goes,
how could you be in debt for $100,000?
We bought a lot of equipment.
Our last album we did was financed by this guy who's in jail right now.
Yeah.
But he's out now. Now he wants his money.
And the other guy's like, shut up, man. Don't say this.
Yeah. Poison, the band, as drunk and as messed up as they were, and I like that they did two separate, like two of them were together and the other two were together, and they seemed like they were having fun. They not that they all didn't seem like that, but they seemed chummier. I don't know. There was a different vibe to Poison.
It seemed like an interesting thing to be like, okay, well, who wants to be paired up? And you could kind of tell, like, oh, you two are friends and you two are friends.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're all friends, but the dynamic of each couple worked really, really well.
Yeah. Brett Michaels and Jamie Lee Curtis. And
wait, what?
It wasn't Jamie Lee Curtis, but he looks like, I don't know who that guy's name is. I don't remember. But if you looked at his face quickly without glasses, as I did once, I was like, is that Jamie Lee Curtis?
Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Wow.
Truly the best, I guess, interview was Chris, I just wrote Chris Wasp, because Wasps is the band that he was in. I don't know his last name.
I don't know. It was the best interview. It looked really fun. And he had just said how he just got back from a European tour. And I'm like, wow, I could only imagine you were doing the same thing on tour.
Yeah.
And now you're back unwinding in your pool. He seemed to be having a great time.
Well,
but also, like I said,
then it became sad. It was a fun. First, you're like, look at this guy. He's just floating in his clothes in his pool. But then it got very depressing, and he pours, like, the bottle of whatever he's drinking basically on his face.
He's got 3 bottles of vodka in that pool.
Who cares?
Do you consider yourself
a piece of crap?
Why?
Well, because, I work a job, and I'm a piece of crap.
It's insane. And
You
he
know
gets
those
really...
big bottles.
He talks about being an alcoholic, and then
Yes.
we talk about that. We get into that, about the drugs and alcohol being
Right.
a big part. And like you said, lots of the fans were like, no, we don't do drugs. We, we don't even drink. And lots of the guys that actually play the music clearly were a little overindulgent.
Anyone that had money was a drug addict, and anyone that was poor was not. That's what I learned.
The creepy promoter's advice was, you got to stay clean if you want to be famous. That was his advice.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear organ music playing while he talked. Like,
I agree. I agree.
Man, that was kind of upsetting. You did not need him in this documentary. Other than that initial laugh, every time we went back to him, I was like, right? This
Get
is
out of
creepy.
here.
Looks like he's made of Play-Doh. There's something wrong with this guy.
Perhaps he is.
Ugh.
They did have, I don't know, were those some of those ladies actually members of bands at all, or in any
great
bands?
question that was never addressed, because all the women were like, yeah, we're going to kick ass, we're great, this isn't just a guy's industry, da-da-da-da-da. They're never interviewed, they're never talked to about their band. Can't we get one female group? I mean,
well, I think that it was more dominated by the male groups, and again, I think that was one of the
right.
One
But
of
that being said, like these bands like Odin and whatever that Detroit band is, they're kind of not going anywhere. You could find a female fronted band that isn't going anywhere either.
Was there one? I guess there must have been.
Well, there were, because the women that were talking were like, yeah, my band is great.
Yeah,
and
but they
this is
did
not
never
just...
show their bands. Yeah.
They never showed their band. Even the one who seemed somewhat professional, except for the weird thing she was wearing. Like the woman that was on the stage. I thought we were going to see her band because she wasn't interviewed in that.
And that would have been an interesting. That would have been interesting too, to see get into that a little more, the difference between the females that were, because they talked about it a little, but not enough. It definitely, I think that her aim was to make you not feel good about the heavy metal scene. Feel good in a way, like, okay, these boys are enjoying themselves, but then realize what it was all about, and they really come off. I mean, they come off honest and you know, I guess like they're having their good time, but they come off kind of like a bunch of deep douchebags, you know?
In heavy metal music, women are portrayed to be abused. They're kind of being bound in chains. Many of the styles portray them as having handcuffs on, leg irons, being locked in cages. There's a very brutal aspect towards the woman in heavy metal because it very much appeals to the male macho image.
And I also think that it's, you know, and I don't want to say it's an issue with the music industry in general.
Yeah.
But you sort of see that same thing in her first documentary with punk music. I think there is a female-fronted band that's in there, but it's still just a bunch of dudes. It's just a bunch of dudes that go to these shows.
Yeah.
And I'm, you know, and I don't want to make, you know, sweeping accusations that if you made a documentary on, like, 90s rap or something, it would probably be the same thing. A bunch of dudes, or you know, maybe you'd have Queen Latifah or something, but, you know, I don't know, it's like a male dominated, especially that type of music. It seems to be very male dominated, and you know, they're just there to use women up. And
I wondered if the women that got used, because there's a terrible little segment that they talk about how, like, they talk about Bret Michaels having a girl in his room and she was screaming that she wanted to come out. Ozzy talks about, I know, I'm like, that doesn't sound, and they're laughing about it.
Oh, they're having
Ozzy
a great
talks
time.
about being with a girl that was having a seizure and didn't know what to do when he was having a seizure, and another
but it
dude
just
tells
turned
them
out that he was standing on her hair while they were trying to pull her away. He's like, she wasn't having a seizure, I was just standing on her hair.
It's a good Ozzy,
and then he dumped orange juice all over the counter. That was so perfectly timed. Because you know that was just... There's a chance that wasn't even a shot of his hand and the orange juice. Because it's shot different than the rest of the interview.
Yeah.
But it's just when she's talking to him about drugs. And he's like,
Yeah.
I don't do as many drugs as I'm fine now. And you just see orange juice.
I love it
it's
too.
missing the glass.
Every time she says something like, "Are you okay?" or he's like, "Fuck no, it's not good. It's not good at all." She's like, "Well, aren't you happier now?" He's like, "Not at all."
You do get a lot of things like gold disc, platinum disc, cars, houses, and then you got things like divorces, management rip-offs, fatigue, drugs, alcohol, hangovers, and you got to get on the next night. You've been up all night burning your bridges, and you got to go. Hi guys, it's good to be back on stage again. You're feeling like crap inside. Very often I ask them, what do they think I would be doing if I wasn't rock and roll? And I keep saying, my answer to that is I'd probably be in prison.
Right. He's like, our manager was, he was just stealing money from me. We weren't good with money. We just realized we weren't making as much money as we were still making a lot of money, though, when that happened. Okay.
That's why, again, his little interview, you're just like, you could totally have your own show, Ozzy.
Because she even says something to him like, well, did you take him to court? He's like, no, it's all right.
It's
okay.
fine.
All
Look,
right,
do you want eggs? I'm making eggs. I'm going to burn them. Oh, Ozzy. Yeah, Ozzy's pretty gold in this documentary, too.
There is one great thing where the woman who won the dance contest last year, she's got that sash on. She is a treasure.
She
just
says,
listening to her. Oh, please go ahead, because I wrote it down, but go ahead.
Did you? Okay, because first of all, there's ladies before her that talk about the place that they're at being a classy place, better than Beverly Hills. And then she gets on, and they're like, how has being the Miss Dance Contest changed you, made you better? What do you want to do next? She wants to get on with her modeling and her actressing.
What are you going to do now? Are you going to...
I'm going to continue on my modeling and hopefully get on with my actressing.
And just the slight pause between actress and ing, where she knows it's not right, but she doesn't know what else to say. Actress.
Yeah, she is
so wonderful.
She is a gem. She just stands there. Then it gets creepy though, because the old man starts dancing with her, and I'm like, oh,
the old man
stop.
starts dancing with her, and then we see the guys who were judging this. It was like, and this woman's dancing around. She wasn't wearing any underwear. And we see her constantly trying to pull her skirt down, but then she's almost like doing the worm on the stage. She
Oh, speaking of the worm on the stage, maybe that's why they showed the dance. Like the one lady does this dance on the stage where she's just crawling and doing splits and doing this like... I can't explain.
No, I think that's the same woman that I'm talking about.
Same
she,
one? Yeah.
She crawls over to a drink that's there with a straw in it and starts drinking out of it. Yeah, it's bizarre. And then the guy running this, that old man, he's so angry that people think that the contest is being rigged.
Oh, yeah.
He goes off like...
There's been so much fucking bullshit about this contest being fixed that I'm going to make damn sure you all understand this. At the end of the contest, when they announced all the winners, the judges' sheets will be available at the front door for any motherfucker to inspect. And that ought to take care of all the fucking bullshit about this contest being fixed. And we are missing a couple of asses here.
The judges' sheets will be available in the back to anyone who wants to see them afterwards. And one woman dances around. He's like, that outfit's too skimpy. I'm like, whoa, hold on, dude. Is that a joke? You didn't deliver it as though it was a joke.
Yeah, he tells one of them that she is like barely dressed. It's very lacy what she's wearing. But and these dudes are, it's just...
I don't know.
Oh, that dance contest.
Yeah. It's terrible. It's the worst thing about this. And why do we end with Megadeth? That's not cool. Megadeth
because we're bringing it down. We're bringing it down.
They seem so boring. They seem so boring. And clearly, I think of any of the smaller bands, I think Megadeth was still somewhat small at this time. I mean, they weren't Odin small. But I guess they're the band that makes it, and maybe we're supposed to see at the end of this movie that, the boring guys who aren't out partying with chicks and, shooting heroin and everything, they're the ones that are going to make it.
The ones that really make.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the lesson, but my God, were those guys boring.
That's megalomania to me. I don't want to get used to something that'll run out. I'd rather stay myself all the way and not ever get used to, having a huge lifestyle, so that in case anything ever happens, like I lose an arm or something, that, I have to get used to being a bum again.
Well, and they had a little more meat to their song lyrics, it seemed like. Like,
Sure,
the other guys,
yes.
literally sang about, I don't know.
No. And we see them in a recording session, too.
Right.
Like, they're recording, and they're talking about, well, this music is actually quite difficult to play. Da-da-da-da-da, blah, blah, blah. Like, all right, okay, fine.
Well, that's why. So you can have a little bit of respect for the
other bands
the
are doing
music.
it terribly, but, they're doing it.
Yeah. Are you getting any ladies, Megadeth? That's what we really want to know.
Yeah, that's what we want to know, Megadeth.
Yeah.
How's that working out? I'm sure they did just fine. All right.
That's a pretty. That was a pretty good synopsis. I feel.
That was a great synopsis of the movie. Beginning
Did you
to end.
like it? Did you enjoy it?
I think I went back and forth.
Yeah, me
this.
too.
Like
Mixed
you said,
feelings.
There were certain things. My biggest issue, and not to say that the misogyny was not an issue, my biggest issue with this was just the meandering nature of it, and that they didn't really stay on topic. Like, I didn't know if this was about the bands, or if it was about the fans, or if it was about the positives, or if it was about the negatives. Like, it's everything. It's like she's trying to cram everything into an hour and 25 minutes.
She tries to do some headlines, some categories. Like, now we're going to talk about the sex, and now we're going to talk about the money, and now. But I think the other thing was, I can only imagine editing this with all these dudes being so wrapped in all their interviews and trying to piece it all together. Like, they must repeat themselves a lot and interweave same kind of. So, but I agree. I wish it was. It made me a little angry at times, and it got me a little, like I said, well, this is why the men today are like they are because of this, and da-da-da. I got a little too into my own head and didn't enjoy it as much as I should have. But it was interesting. I'm glad I saw it. I think you'd have to be in the right mood or the right person to watch it, as far as to recommend if somebody else would watch it. But
I think it's definitely something that if you were into this music, or you
you should have seen it, right?
Music,
yeah.
How have you not already seen this? So if you haven't, watch it. The outfits are ridiculous. The makeup is ridiculous. Stuff these people say are ridiculous. But again, every hilarious thing was undercut by something that was either sad or just wrong
or frustrating, frustrating because of how,
but by the standards of the time as well. I mean, 30 years ago sounds like a long time ago, but there's still certain things that aren't cool.
Yeah, but then you wonder how. That's what I mean. How it'd get in my head. I was like, but are there people that are still thinking this way? There are because he's the leader of our country. There are people that are still thinking in this. Not that he's like a heavy metal.
He's such a huge Odin fan.
Likely, he is like the Odin of his own. I could make parallels.
Oh, sure.
I won't. Definitely. But anyway.
We just made parallels. We just talked.
We did it. We paralleled it.
Yeah. No, I found it enjoyable at times and frustrating at times. I was never bored by it, though. I think that's the one thing. I was in it, and even when I was like, we don't need to see these women dancing. This is terrible. Then that old creepy weirdo would say something pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, all right, I know why this
back
is in the movie.
Or they'd give you a little Ozzy, and you'd say, "Oh, all right."
Right. That's the thing. It's a strange movie to critique or to give a final judgment on, because I feel like it should have either been tighter or honestly longer. So
we could have had more.
I really wish it was. Strangely enough, I wish it focused a lot more on the fans than the band.
Which makes sense. Yeah,
I would love to know what these people are all about, because we hear how they're, they all seem to be losers and not working, but half the time I'm like, wait, are these people in bands? Like, they all seem to be in bands, but also
and I think that was the dream.
Shows.
That's what you do. You're in the bands because you want to be the next, but then you have to go and enjoy. It's what a culture. The Decline of Western Civilization.
Well, I have one recommendation based on this movie, and it's a documentary called We Jam Econo. Oh. And it's a documentary about the band The Minutemen. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, or they influenced a lot of bands that I really like Sublime and Bargain Music. Mm-hmm. And their lead singer was killed in a car accident. They were only around for maybe 4 or 5 years, but they were such an influential band on that sort of punk scene, or surf punk, or their music is bizarre.
Minutemen?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot of, they almost sometimes sound like a jam band. They'll have a weird jam band song, but a song that only goes on for a minute and a half, and the next one will be a crazy punk song, and the next one will again be music with almost moody blues type poetry being spoken over it. They did a lot of crazy music that was just so out there. But it's a really good documentary about them. But if you're not into that type of music, probably just like this, you might not enjoy it.
You might not get into it.
That's the thing. But
sometimes it's just interesting to watch their little journey.
Yes.
But when documentaries are about the musicians, it's heavy. A lot of the music is in it. And so if you can't handle if you're not entertained by their music, then you're just kind of eh.
Well, okay, so let's talk about our
the past year.
Let's talk about our fourth year. And if there's anything that, maybe you particularly enjoyed, or again, if somebody is just stumbled upon this show, just stumbled upon this episode, this is the first time they're hearing our show. They were like, oh, I guess you guys always do documentaries. No, not exactly. So, is there anything from this past year that you would like to?
My two favorites from this past year, talking about them and watching them. Rhinestone.
Of course. I had that written down, no doubt.
And Bloodsport. I really enjoyed Bloodsport.
Well, that takes a couple off of my list then. That's great. Yeah.
Okay.
You enjoyed those. And again, I'm not even going to ask you why you liked them, because I know why you did. And go back to listen to the episode.
Listen and you'll know why. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll just recommend episodes. We don't need to talk about them. We did them in the episode. But I will recommend, of course, having my eyes opened to that there is a movie about the Village People.
Oh, yeah, of course. This is your favorite.
That blew my mind, and that was one of the best things I've seen this past year. Not just for the podcast. I mean, in
your life. In
my life. Just looking into my children's eyes, I'm like, this is not as precious.
Did you see Gutenberg on skates? Did you?
If you're not on skates, I don't got time for you.
I'm not talking to you.
If your headdress is at the cleaners, I hope you're at least wearing a single feather. And the other one, and I told you this weeks after we watched it, I had told you, I was like, it is still with me. I still can't get it out of my head. And I kind of regret at the end of the episode saying, no, I didn't really like it, because I think I love cat people. I think I love cat people. I can't. It burrowed in there, and I still find myself thinking about it.
I thought you were going to say cat people. That's
what
funny.
Happened in that movie.
I thought you were going to go there. Well, yeah, but there's lots more. I mean, I think depending on just like the music that we're referencing for these documentaries, if you're a fan of that type of music, you'll probably be a fan. So even if listeners don't agree with our picks for what we think were the best what we, were our favorite episodes, they might have liked others. Like we started this year, wasn't this year we started with that Tom Selleck movie? Was it this? No.
Tom Selleck movie? What Tom Selleck? The one with the robots?
Yeah.
The one with Gene Simmons?
Yeah.
No, that was last year.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought that was January.
I forgot. This is the second time we're seeing Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. I don't know. And again, like, I don't know, go back through. We do all sorts of different movies. Even I was surprised going through, and some of the ones I kind of not forgot about, but I went, oh yeah, Mosquito Coast. Like,
yeah, Mosquito Coast. That was a serious, little more serious for our taste. Yes. Yeah.
So speaking of serious movies, I don't think our next one's going to be very serious.
Okay.
This worked out so perfectly. Again, we try and do movies based around seasons or events or holidays or whatever. It just so happens that in 2 weeks, when our next episode comes out, it's National Monkey Around Day.
Oh, I didn't know there was such a day.
We sort of opened our eyes to monkey movies.
Oh, yeah, we got apes in our lives now, in our cinema lives.
And I told you there were a couple of scary monkey movies in the 80s.
Oh, yeah?
And one is called Monkey Shines, where a paraplegic's helper monkey tries to kill him, which sounds great. We're not going to do it. Let's save that. We're going to do a movie called Link.
Oh. About like the missing Link?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Where I don't know, I've never seen it, but it appears from a clip that I saw on YouTube, a murderous monkey watches Elizabeth Shue take a bath at one point. So
okay.
It sounds creepy.
All right.
It sounds fun, and it's Monkey Around Day. So we're going to do another monkey movie.
All
Hopefully
right.
knocking all these out.
Here we go. All right.
Yes. So that will be in 2 weeks, everyone. Again, find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter. We're on Instagram.
Oh, yeah,
We're
are.
on Patreon. We have shirts on TeePublic. Every now and then, somebody buys an Angela sticker or an Angela T-shirt.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Of course they do. So go there, find us. You can either find us by typing in Good Times, Great Movies into Google or whatever search engine you use.
Right.
Ask Jeeves, whatever. Or sometimes just type in GTGM cast.
That's a GTGM. Boom.
Yeah, depending on where we are listed as one or the other.
We're findable, though.
We're findable.
Yep. I'm actressing. I'm going to be actressing.
Modeling and actressing.
Oh, boy.
So
well, thank
amazing.
you. Thank you for giving me
welcome.
the gift. I'm talking directly to our audience members.
I know.
Giving us the gift of this documentary.
Yeah, thank you for voting on this.
And no,
I mean,
but seriously.
You should have voted on garlic, but still.
Now we're going to, because of this, now we are forced to do the garlic as a Patreon episode. But also, thank you for 4 awesome years, DP.
Right.
This has been beyond fun. And
I thought you were thanking our listeners.
I thank everyone. I'm full of gratitude at the end of this.
No, thank you too. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I get a little self-conscious that this isn't as fun as I think it is.
I have a blast
you.
with this. No way.
Right. Great. No. And again, thank you, audience, because I don't know, if nobody was listening, we probably wouldn't do this for 4 years. I could be wrong.
I think you might be wrong. And I mean, I'm not trying to sway our members to go away and stop listening, but I feel like
if I
we're
checked
just
every
glad
week
to be
and there were
sharing
like
it.
10 people, we'd still probably
I'd still be
do
like,
it.
but someone out there wants to know our thoughts on
right.
Link.
Well, that will be what we're talking about next time.
That's coming at you.
Also, thank you for just doing this. This is so much fun.
I agree.
And I hope every listener is having as much fun listening to this as we are doing it.
Yeah, same here.
So here's to another 4 years.
Yeah, I like it. Cheers.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you again in 2 weeks. Go watch Link. I don't know where you're going to find it. Find it where you can.
Oh, goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
You see the golden light.
Yeah, I'm a happy camper.
You know what I just saw today? I just saw that you can purchase an online video greeting from Gary Busey.
What? Oh, that's something celebrities are doing because they get paid. Yeah. And to do these little he could say hey, DP, Jamie wanted you to know. Oh, I wish I would have done that for you for our anniversary.
Like $375.
Never mind.
Right. Yeah,
for Busey to just be like, "Happy birthday!"
Right,
man. All I have to do is watch that. Go ahead.
I'll put this out to our listeners now. Listen, if you want Patreon content and you get Gary Busey to leave us a message, to send us a message to the show,
how would they do that?
And then we'll play it at the beginning of every show.
Every show, yeah.
I will then give you all of the bonus content. I'll give you that secret little link to our Patreon.
Oh.
I don't know who's going to do this.
A secret Patreon.
But there you go. So that is I'm just putting it out there.
There's your incentive for the Busey.
Now, it does have to be very specific, though. He has to make those weird faces to us that he made in Silver Bullet to Corey Haim in the video.
That's what I was going to say, is I don't need a greeting from him. I could just watch that
he doesn't
over
need to
and
say
over
a
again.
word.
No.
Just make
those
faces.
Weirdo faces. Wink, flirt. I don't know what he was doing.
And then why would you pay for that? You could just watch Silver Bullet.
Yeah.
But you know that then he's doing it to you.
You know it's very private. Yeah, in that way. Very intimate.
Yeah. In the other one, he's looking at Corey Haim. Now you can imagine he's looking right at you.
Well, because he is.
As you go up the stairs on your little stair lift. Guys, go to our Patreon. Silver Bullet's super fun. All right.